All right, let's dive into one of the trickiest but most important concepts in Rust programming: concurrency versus asynchrony. They sound similar, and sometimes people use them interchangeably, but in practice, they mean very different things. And in Rust, understanding the distinction will help you write faster, safer, and more efficient programs. Let's try to understand with some visual analogies that would make the technical explanation resonate with real-world intuition. So first is concurrency. Concurrency means doing multiple things at the same time. Imagine we're in a kitchen. We've got two chefs, one chopping vegetables, the other boiling pasta. They're both working at the same time on different cutting boards and pots. That's concurrency. In Rust, each chef is like a thread with its own space. In Rust, concurrency often means using threads with the standard thread module, or more advanced setups like using Rayon for parallel computation. Now let's see the core Rust implementation of our two parallel chefs using the standard library's thread module. Here we have two threads running concurrently. Each thread simulates doing some work. Each thread has its own stack and runs independently. When we call thread spawn, we are creating two independent workers, thread 1 and thread 2, that the OS can schedule to run simultaneously across different CPU cores. The thread sleep simply simulates a task's duration, showing how their output interweaves as the OS constantly switches between them. We use join to ensure the main program waits for both threads to fully complete their work before finishing. This is powerful, but remember the trade-off. Each OS thread requires its own memory stack, leading to higher memory overhead and costlier context switching. It's the right tool for long-running CPU-bound tasks. Sometimes you don't want to manage threads yourself. You just want to parallelize work across multiple cores. This example uses Rayon, which allows us to achieve high-performance parallelism without manually dealing with threads or joining handles. Rayon is all about data parallelism. The core concept is simple. We transform a normal iterator, .iter, into a parallel iterator using pariter. Rayon then automatically takes this workload, calculating the squares of 20 numbers, and breaks it down. It uses a work-stealing thread pool to efficiently distribute those small tasks across all the available CPU cores on your machine. This is still concurrency, but more specifically parallelism. Rayon automatically splits the workload across available CPU cores. So if you're crunching numbers or doing CPU-heavy tasks, Rayon is your friend. It handles the load balancing so you can focus on the algorithm. Now let's flip gears and talk about asynchrony. Asynchrony is about handling multiple tasks that wait a lot of the time, like fetching data over the network, reading files from disk, or waiting for user input. Now, imagine instead we've got just one chef. This chef puts positive boil. It's going to take 10 minutes. Instead of standing idle waiting, the chef switches over and starts making pizza. Once the timer goes off, the chef comes back to finish the pasta. That's asynchrony, one worker handling multiple tasks by not wasting time waiting. That's where async runtimes like Tokio or Smol shine. Say we're making two HTTP requests at the same time. Without async, we'd block and wait for each one. With async, we can fire them both off and await the results. Here, both requests run asynchronously. While task 1 is waiting for a response, task 2 can keep going. The runtime efficiently schedules them so we don't waste time just waiting. This is where Tokio acts as the async runtime, the central coordinator that manages our tasks, often using just a few underlying OS threads. When task 1 starts the network request, it hits the crucial await keyword. This is the moment the chef puts the pasta onto boil and yields the thread back to the runtime. Tokio immediately switches that thread's focus to task 2, letting it make progress while task 1 is waiting for the server response. The requests finish when their data arrives, maximizing the use of the CPU by never having the worker thread just stand idle. This design makes async Rust, powered by Tokio, the unbeatable solution for I/O-bound applications like web servers that handle thousands of connections concurrently. Now let's see the same thing but using Smol. This time we're using the Smol runtime, which is a lightweight, minimal, and highly composable alternative to Tokio. This looks almost identical to the Tokio example, but Smol is lightweight and designed for simpler async needs. Smol uses the same fundamental async await mechanism, where Smol spawn creates the async tasks and await yields control back to the scheduler when the task is waiting on I/O. The main difference is its philosophy. Smol is smaller, often easier to embed in existing code bases, and focuses on simple API design. Now here's where it gets fun. Imagine you run a restaurant. You've got multiple chefs, or threads, but each chef is also smart enough to juggle multiple waiting tasks. Some are chopping onions while something bakes, some are frying while waiting for the sauce to simmer. That's what happens when we mix concurrency with asynchrony, threads running async runtimes like Tokio or Smol. Sometimes you need both. For example, imagine you're downloading files, which is I/O-bound async, but also processing them with CPU-heavy work, concurrency or parallelism. This example shows how async runtimes and concurrency libraries like Rayon can complement each other. Async for downloading, concurrency for processing. This is how we build highly optimized, modern applications. We use Tokio and Request to handle the I/O-bound part, firing off multiple network downloads asynchronously. The key is that the initial download tasks are running on Tokio's limited thread pool, efficiently waiting for data without blocking. Once all the downloads are complete and collected using futures, join all, we switch gears entirely. We then take the downloaded data and use Rayon's par iter to calculate the length of the responses. This processing step is CPU-bound, so we use Rayon to automatically distribute the work across all available CPU cores. This combination, async for waiting, Rayon for calculating, ensures maximum efficiency, preventing the CPU from sitting idle during I/O and ensuring the CPU is fully utilized when crunching numbers. Next is CPU-bound and I/O-bound work. Think of CPU-bound like kneading dough. It's constant physical effort, no waiting. You need more chefs. But I/O-bound is like waiting for bread to rise. You just cover it and wait. Async shines there because while the dough rises, your chef can go cook something else. Here's a program that calculates prime numbers. This is pure CPU crunching. Here, we're splitting the CPU-heavy task across multiple cores using Rayon. Running this without parallelism would be much slower. This code is the perfect demonstration of CPU-bound work, that is, tasks where the computer spends almost all its time calculating, like our analogy of kneading dough. Calculating if a number is prime requires constant, focused effort from the processor. Since there's virtually no waiting involved, asynchrony would offer very little benefit here. Instead, we use Rayon and its par iter to achieve parallelism. Rayon automatically divides the massive list of numbers into chunks and assigns each chunk to a different CPU core. This is true concurrent execution across multiple physical processors, dramatically accelerating the total computation time. For pure number crunching, Rayon is the gold standard in Rust. Now, let's switch gears and simulate a program that fetches data from multiple URLs. This is all about waiting, so async shines here. Instead of waiting for each request sequentially, async lets us fire them all off together. Even though each request is delayed, the total time is roughly equal to the longest delay, not the sum of all delays. This is a textbook example of I/O-bound work, our analogy of waiting for the bread to rise. When your program makes a network request, it spends almost all of its time waiting for a response from a remote server. The CPU is effectively idle. Using the Tokio runtime, we fire all 3 network requests simultaneously using Tokio spawn. When the first task hits the await keyword, it says, "I'm waiting for the internet," and Tokio immediately schedules the next task to make progress. This efficient task switching ensures that we aren't waiting sequentially for 2 seconds, then 3 seconds, then 1 second, but rather that the total execution time is dominated only by the longest wait time, which is the 3-second request. This is the power of asynchronous execution. Now, let's understand shared state with Mutex. Now, imagine 5 waiters all updating the same order board. If they all scribble on it at the same time, it'll be a mess. Instead, they take turns. One writes, then the next. That's a mutex in action, making sure shared state doesn't get corrupted. Another common real-world scenario is shared state. Imagine multiple async tasks incrementing a counter. Here, we've combined async tasks with shared state management using a mutex. That's concurrency meeting asynchrony again. We use Arc, atomically reference counted, to safely share the counter across multiple async tasks, which is necessary because they might run on different threads within the Tokio runtime. The mutex then acts as the gatekeeper, forcing each task to wait its turn by calling lock. Only one task can hold the lock at a time, ensuring that the shared counter is incremented safely and without data corruption. Finally, message passing with channels. Now, imagine a busy restaurant. Instead of every waiter yelling orders directly at the chef and causing chaos, each waiter writes down the order on a slip of paper. Then they drop that slip into a basket by the kitchen window. The chef doesn't need to deal with the waiters directly. Instead, they just pick up slips one by one from the basket and prepare the meals. That basket is the channel. The waiters are the sending threads, producing messages. The chef is the receiving thread, consuming messages. The system stays organized because nobody fights over shared state. All communication flows through the channel. Everyone just pushes notes into a basket and the receiver processes them in order. Let's see how this works with standard OS threads using the standard sync MPSC channel module. The MPSC channel, multiple producer, single consumer, creates our basket.
The waiter thread uses the sender, TX, to safely send data to drop in orders, and the main thread uses the receiver, RX, to consume it or read them one by one in order. This pattern is inherently safe because ownership of the data is transferred as it moves through the channel. There is no shared state to corrupt, making it a much cleaner way to communicate between standard threads than using a mutex. But what if we have multiple waiters? This shows the power of the multi-producer part of MPSC channel. Let's add more waiters to show the multi-producer part of MPSC. This example shows the multi-producer part of MPSC in action. By calling tx.clone, we create a new sender instance, tx1, that points to the same underlying channel. We now have two separate waiter threads, each sending orders independently into the single receiver, Rx. The main thread, the chef, receives the combined interleave flow of orders. This perfectly demonstrates how channels decouple the senders from the receiver, allowing highly concurrent systems to operate without coordination issues. So according to our analogy, here, both waiters write into the same basket, TX and TX1. The chef doesn't care who sent the order, they just process it. This is message passing in action, safe, orderly, and decoupled. Okay, now we need the async version for our high-performance I/O applications. In real-world async apps, servers, background workers, etc., we often use asynchronous channels. Tokio gives us Tokio Sync MPSC. This is the async equivalent, which is crucial for non-blocking communication in an async environment. The channel is essentially the same, but the send and receive methods are now awaitable. This is the key difference. The chef task rx.receive.await can yield control back to the runtime while waiting for a new order. Similarly, the waiter task can wait if the channel buffer is full. The result is that neither the sender nor the receiver is ever blocking an OS thread, allowing the Tokio runtime to use its limited worker pool efficiently. Now, the analogy is even closer to real-world restaurants. Waiters are async tasks, not blocking threads. Orders are buffered in a channel. The chef keeps cooking as long as there are notes in the basket.
So, to wrap this up, concurrency is about doing work at the same time, CPU-heavy tasks. Asynchrony is about handling waiting efficiently, I/O-bound tasks. Rust gives us amazing tools for both, standard thread, Rayon, Tokio, Smol, and you can even mix and match depending on your problem. Now, the real test is applying it. Take these patterns and use them to optimize your next project. Drop a comment below and share what you're building, what you learned, or any questions you still have.